The message came through at 300 hours, when most of the crew was sleeping. Lieutenant sat alone in the communications room of the Resolute, her eyes tired from watching empty screens. The human exploration ship had been traveling through unmapped space for 6 months. Nothing exciting had happened for weeks. She was thinking about coffee when her console suddenly lit up with red warnings. An emergency signal, ancient frequency, someone was calling for help. Sat up straight and pressed her fingers to the controls. The signal was weak, traveling across vast distances, repeating the same message over and over. She cleaned up the static and listened. A voice filled the room. It was strange and musical, clearly not human, and it was filled with fear. To any who hear us, we beg you. The devouring swarm approaches our world. Our defense shields are failing, our fleets have been destroyed. We are the people and we will die soon. Please, if anyone can hear this message, help us. Please help us. The message ended. Then it started again from the beginning. Felt cold. She checked the signal data. This message had been broadcasting for 3 galactic cycles. In human time, that was almost 2 years. Someone had been screaming for help into the darkness for 2 years, and no one had answered. She pressed the button to wake Captain Park. Arrived on the bridge 10 minutes later, his uniform wrinkled, his hair messy from sleep. He was a tall man in his 40s with a calm face and steady eyes. He had commanded the Resolute for 5 years and had seen many strange things in deep space. But the message playing through the speakers made him stop walking. "How long?" he asked quietly. "Almost 2 years, Captain," replied. "The signal comes from a planet called Prime. It is in Sector 77, about 4 days' travel from here." Chief Engineer Shin entered the bridge, holding a cup of something hot. He was a big man with rough hands and a practical mind. He listened to the message twice, then shook his head. 2 years calling for help. Why has no one responded? That was the question wanted answered. He ordered to contact the nearest galactic community relay station. The galactic community was a loose group of over 4,000 alien species. They traded, talked, and sometimes worked together. Humans had joined them 50 years ago and were still considered newcomers. The community had rules, traditions, and ways of doing things that humans were still learning. The relay station connected them to Ambassador, a diplomat. They looked like tall moths with silver wings and large dark eyes. Appeared on screen, his wings folding politely. "Ah, humans," said in a smooth voice. "How may the community assist you today?" Kept his voice calm. "We received a distress signal from Prime. The message says they are under attack by something called the devouring swarm. The signal has been broadcasting for 2 years. Why has no one helped them?" Made a soft sound that might have been a sigh. Yes, a sad situation. The devouring swarm is a hive species that consumes other civilizations. Very unpleasant. They are a minor species with few resources and no political allies. Their extinction is expected. "Expected," repeated the word slowly. "These things happen, Captain. The galaxy is large and resources are limited. The community cannot save everyone. Surely you understand this." Did not understand this. They asked for help, they begged for it. Waved one delicate limb in the air. Yes, they begged quite dramatically, but Captain, begging is simply cultural expression. It is a formality. No one actually expects anyone to answer such calls. The strong survive. The weak do not. This is the natural way. Stared at the alien on the screen. In the background, the message played again. A frightened voice asking for help that would never come. "So everyone heard this message," said slowly, "and everyone decided to do nothing." "It would be inefficient to do otherwise," replied. "They have nothing to offer, no valuable technology, no strategic importance. Helping them would cost much and gain nothing. This is simply logical." Nodded once. "Thank you for explaining, Ambassador." He cut the transmission. The bridge was silent. and the other crew members looked at their captain, waiting. Walked to the main viewport and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, a whole species was dying. They had called for help. They had begged, and the entire galaxy had decided their lives were not worth the trouble. Captain said softly, "What do we do?" Turned around. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard. "What do we do? We answer them. Plot a course for prime, maximum speed." Grinned and set down his cup. Finally, something interesting. The crew moved quickly. The Resolute was just one ship, a mid-sized exploration vessel with basic weapons and a crew of 87 humans. They were not a warship. They were not designed for battle. They had no idea what they would find at Prime. But someone had asked for help. Opened a channel to the signal as the ship changed course. She recorded a simple message. "Prime, this is the human vessel Resolute. We received your distress call. We are coming. Hold on, help is coming." She sent the message into space, not knowing if anyone would hear it. 4 days later, as the Resolute prepared to drop out of faster-than-light travel, the crew gathered on the bridge. They had spent the journey preparing as best they could. Weapons were checked. Emergency plans were made. Medical supplies were organized. No one knew if it would be enough. No one knew if there was anyone left to save. Stood at the center of the bridge. His crew looked at him, waiting for orders. "I want to be clear about something," he said. "We are probably flying into a disaster. We are one ship against an enemy that has already destroyed an entire civilization. The smart thing to do would be to turn around and go home." He paused. The crew was silent. "But someone asked for help," continued. "Where I come from, that means something. When someone asks you for help, you help them. It is that simple. I am not ordering anyone to do this. If you want to leave, you can take the escape pods and wait for pickup. No one will think less of you." No one moved. Marine squad leader stepped forward. She was a small woman with short hair and a fierce face. "Captain, with respect, stop talking and let us do our jobs." The crew laughed. The tension broke. Smiled. "Very well, take us in." The Resolute dropped out of faster-than-light travel above Prime. What they saw made everyone stop breathing. The planet below was beautiful, covered in crystal forests that sparkled like diamonds and silver seas that reflected the light of 2 suns. But the sky above the planet was dark with enemy ships. Thousands of them. Living ships made of black flesh and sharp bone, moving like a swarm of hungry insects. The devouring swarm had come to feed. And standing between them and their prey was one human ship. Looked at the impossible sight before him. Then he straightened his shoulders. "Open a channel to the planet's surface," he ordered. "Let them know we are here." Someone had asked for help, and humans had answered. The who answered the communication was barely alive. Elder appeared on the screen and the human crew fell silent. They were beautiful beings, tall and thin with skin that glowed softly with inner light. But light was weak and flickering, like a candle about to die. His large, dark eyes were filled with exhaustion and something that looked like disbelief. "Who?" His voice cracked. "Who are you?" Captain Park leaned forward. "We are humans from Earth. You asked for help. We are here." There was a long silence. Stared at them through the screen. His glowing skin flickered faster, which the humans would later learn was a sign of strong emotion. "You came," whispered. "You actually came." "Yes, how many survivors are there? Where are you located?" Seemed to struggle to speak. "We are in the last underground shelter. 12,000 of my people. We are all that remain. The swarm. The swarm has taken everything else." 12,000. Out of a civilization of billions. Lieutenant looked at her captain. Her eyes were wet. Kept his face steady, but his hands were tight on the arms of his chair. "We are coming to get you," said. "All of you, hold on a little longer." Made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. "One ship. You brought one ship against the swarm. You will die." "Maybe," replied, but we are going to try anyway." He ended the transmission and turned to his crew. "Options. How do we get 12,000 people off that planet when the sky is full of enemy ships?" Chief Engineer Shin was already working at his console. "We cannot fight them directly, but I have an idea. The swarm uses shared signals to communicate. If we broadcast false information on their frequency, we might confuse them, make them think a large fleet is coming." "Can you do that?" Grinned, "I can try." Marine squad leader stood ready with her team, 20 soldiers in combat armor, carrying the best weapons the Resolute had. They did not look like much compared to an army of alien monsters, but their faces were determined. "We will go down to the surface," said. "Protect the evacuation. Hold the line until everyone is out." Ship's medic joined them, carrying medical equipment on his back. He was a quiet man with gentle hands, but he had served in 3 conflicts before joining the Resolute. He knew how to work under fire. "I will treat the wounded as we move," said. "Biology is different from ours, but basic medical care should still help." Looked at his people, 87 humans against thousands of swarm creatures. The mathematics were impossible, but no one suggested turning back. "Take us down," ordered. "Into the atmosphere. We will use the crystal forests for cover." The Resolute dove toward the planet. Above them, swarm ships noticed the movement. Several broke away from the main group and began to follow. Activated his false signal. Across space, fake transmissions announced the arrival of a massive human battle fleet. The swarm hesitated. Their shared mind tried to process this new information. Was it true? Were more enemies coming? The hesitation gave the Resolute precious minutes. The ship entered the atmosphere and dropped low, flying between massive crystal trees that rose hundreds of meters into the sky. The forest sparkled with reflected light, creating a maze of rainbow colors. It was the most beautiful thing many of the crew had ever seen. It was also a war zone. Swarm creatures moved through the forests below. They looked like insects, but wrong. Each one was the size of a large dog with black shells, too many legs and mouths that dripped acid. Where they walked, they left destruction. The crystal trees melted at their touch. The shuttle bay opened and led her team down on rappelling lines. They hit the ground running, weapons ready. The entrance to the shelter was 2 kilometers away, through enemy-held territory. "Move fast," ordered. "Stay together, watch each other's backs." The first swarm drone found them within minutes. It came screaming out of the forest, acid spraying from its mouth. Private Lee shot it 3 times in the head before it could reach them. The creature fell, twitching, then stopped moving. "They die when you shoot them," reported. "Good to know." More drones came. The humans fought through them, step by step, meter by meter. Stayed in the middle of the group, ready to help anyone who fell. Led from the front, her rifle never stopping. A drone got too close. Its acid caught Private Han on the arm. She screamed as the acid burned through her armor. Was there in seconds, neutralizing the acid, wrapping the wound. "Can you walk?" he asked. Gritted her teeth. "I can run." They kept moving. Above them, the Resolute fought its own battle. Swarm ships attacked, trying to destroy the human vessel. The Resolute was not a warship, but it had some weapons. Used them all, firing at anything that got too close. "Shields at 60%, reported. "Hull breach on Deck 7, another officer called out, sealing it now." The ship shook with each impact, alarms screamed, lights flickered. Held onto his chair and refused to retreat. How long until the ground team reaches the shelter? 8 more minutes. 8 minutes. They had to survive 8 more minutes. And her team reached the shelter entrance. It was a massive metal door set into a hillside, half buried by rubble. Guards stood outside, holding primitive weapons, their glowing skin dim with fear. "We are the humans," announced. "We are here to help. Open the door." The guards stared at her, Then they opened the door. Inside, 12,000 waited. They filled the tunnels and caves, adults and children, old and young. Their soft glow lit the darkness like stars. They looked at the human soldiers with huge, unbelieving eyes. Elder approached, moving slowly on injured legs. "You are real," he said. We thought the message was a dream, a final hallucination before death." Felt something twist in her chest. "We are real, but we need to move fast. Our ship cannot hold against the swarm forever." Nodded and raised his voice. "My people, the humans have come. They are taking us to safety. Move quickly, help each other, do not leave anyone behind." The evacuation began. The Resolute dropped into a lower position, extending emergency ramps, climbed aboard in groups, helped by human crew members, and the medical team treated the wounded. Children cried. Adults moved in shocked silence. Swarm drones attacked the evacuation point. His team held them back, firing until their weapons overheated, then firing again. 2 more soldiers were wounded. One almost died before reached him. "Keep them coming," shouted. "Do not stop. Move, move, move." Hour after hour the evacuation continued. The Resolute filled with refugees. The ship was designed for 87 humans. Now it held thousands. Finally, the last climbed aboard. Elder was the last to leave his world, looking back at the burning planet that had been his home. "Everyone is aboard," reported. "We have them all." Felt relief wash through him. "Get back to the ship. We are leaving." The Resolute climbed out of the atmosphere, shields failing, hull damaged, engines straining. Swarm ships chased them, screaming through the darkness. "Push the engines beyond their limits." "Come on," he whispered, "come on." The ship jumped to faster than light speed. Behind them, the swarm reached out with their shared mind, confused and angry. What just happened? Who were these strange creatures who came from nowhere and stole their prey? They did not understand. Aboard the Resolute, humans and stood together in the crowded corridors. They glowed brightly now, their lights strong with emotion. Elder found Captain on the damaged bridge. The old looked at the human with something close to worship. "You came," said again. "One ship against thousands, you could have died, why?" Looked at the stars through the cracked viewport. He thought about the answer for a long moment. "You asked for help," he finally said. "That was enough." Did not understand, but he was beginning to. These humans were something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. And nothing would ever be the same. The news spread faster than light. A single human ship had entered swarm territory. A single human ship had rescued 12,000 from certain death. A single human ship had done what the entire galactic community had refused to do for 2 years. At first, the other species did not believe it. It must be a mistake, a lie, propaganda. No one was that foolish. No one risked their lives for strangers with nothing to offer. But then the images arrived. Footage from the Resolute showed refugees filling every corridor, every room, every open space. Human crew members shared their food, their beds, their medicine. Children slept in the arms of alien soldiers who did not speak their language but held them gently anyway. The galaxy watched, and the galaxy did not know what to feel. On the massive Nexus station, where diplomats from thousands of species gathered, the mood was strange. Some were angry, some were confused, some felt something they had not felt in a long time, something uncomfortable that sat in their chest and would not go away. Ambassador O represented Earth at the galactic community. She was a small woman with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had spent 20 years dealing with alien politics, learning their games, understanding their tricks, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. She stood before the council, facing representatives from dozens of species. High Arbiter and creature with clicking mandibles led the questioning. His compound eyes studied her without emotion. Ambassador O said, "Please explain your people's actions. The Resolute entered territory claimed by the devouring swarm. This could be considered an act of war. The community did not authorize this intervention. Your captain acted without permission. Smiled politely. The people sent a distress signal asking for help. My people answered that call. We did not realize we needed permission to save lives. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Permission? What a strange concept. Ambassador, the diplomat who had spoken with Captain, stepped forward. His silver wings trembled with agitation. Ambassador, surely you understand the implications. If every species responded to every call for help, chaos would follow, resources would be wasted, political balances would be destroyed. The system exists for good reasons. The system let an entire civilization die while calling for help, replied. I am not sure those reasons are good enough. Silence fell over the chamber. Tried again. They had nothing to offer, no technology, no strategic value, no resources. Helping them brought no benefit to anyone. It brought benefit to 12,000 people who are still alive, said. That seems like a good benefit to me. High Arbiter clicked his mandibles. This is inefficient thinking. The universe is harsh. The weak perish. The strong survive. This is natural law. Looked at the Arbiter for a long moment. Perhaps, she said, but humans believe in a different law. When someone asks for help, you help them. It is that simple. Simple, another diplomat called out. It is naive. You will exhaust yourselves saving every dying species in the galaxy. You will bankrupt your civilization with pointless charity. Shrugged, maybe, but we are going to try anyway. The council erupted into argument. Species that had ignored countless extinction events suddenly felt exposed. If humans answered every call for help, what did that say about their own choices, their own silences, their own decisions to look away? While the diplomats argued, something else was happening. The story of the Resolute spread beyond official channels. Ordinary citizens of 1,000 species heard about the humans who came when no one else would. They saw images of Captain standing calm on his damaged bridge. They heard Elder's trembling voice saying, "You came. You actually came." And something changed. On Earth, the government debated what to do next. The Resolute had saved but the swarm was still out there. They would attack again. Someone had to stop them. Fleet Admiral Ryu was an old soldier with gray hair and scars from 3 wars. He had spent his life protecting Earth from threats. Now he faced a new enemy, one that had destroyed civilizations across the galaxy. We have 12 warships ready, told the Council. The first expeditionary fleet. It is the largest force we have ever sent into deep space. Is it enough? A councilwoman asked. Was honest. I do not know. The swarm has never been defeated. No one has ever really tried. But we cannot let them be rescued only to watch them die later. We have to finish what the Resolute started. The decision was made. Earth's fleet would deploy to space and hold the line against the swarm. Ambassador received the news during a break in the council session. She smiled when she read it, then returned to the chamber and requested permission to speak. I have an announcement, she said. The United Earth Fleet is deploying 12 warships to Prime. We will establish a defensive perimeter and protect the people from further attack. Shock rippled through the chamber. High Arbiter leaned forward. You are committing military forces to defend a species that is not part of any alliance. This is unprecedented. This is foolish. This is what humans do, replied. Ambassador approached her after the session ended. The look troubled, his wings folded tight against his body. Ambassador O, he said quietly, I have lived for 300 years. I have seen many species come and go. Some were strong, some were clever, some were ruthless, but I have never seen anything like your people. Waited. You confuse me, admitted. You help others without expecting payment. You risk your lives for strangers. You treat words like they have meaning. In the community, a request for help is just politics. It is a game. No one takes it seriously. Humans take it seriously, said. Was quiet for a moment. I know that is what frightens us, he paused, and perhaps what shames us as well. He walked away, leaving alone with her thoughts. 2 weeks later, Admiral's fleet arrived at Prime. The Resolute was still there, damaged but functional, standing guard over the refugees on temporary colony ships. The swarm had returned. Thousands of bioships circled the system, preparing for another attack. They had been waiting, patient, knowing their prey could not escape. Then 12 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, bristling with weapons, their crews ready for battle. Admiral opened a channel that broadcast on every frequency, to the swarm, to the galaxy, to anyone listening. This is Admiral Ryu of the United Earth Fleet. The people are under our protection. If you attack them, you attack us. And if you attack us, we will destroy you. The swarm had never been threatened before. They had consumed civilizations across 100 worlds. Nothing had ever stood in their way. Now something was standing. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched the confrontation. This was the moment when everything would change. The swarm moved forward, testing the human defenses. They expected the humans to retreat, to run, to behave like every other species. The humans did not retreat. The first battle began, with fire lighting the darkness of space. And far away in the council chambers, High Arbiter watched the reports with his compound eyes. He did not understand humans. He did not know if they would win or lose. But for the first time in his long life, he found himself hoping they would win. Perhaps, he thought, words should have meaning after all. The battle above Prime lasted for 3 days. Human warships held formation around the refugee fleet, creating a wall of steel and firepower between the swarm and their prey. Admiral Ryu commanded from his flagship, the Soul, watching the battle unfold on tactical screens. The swarm attacked in waves. Their bioships crashed against human shields like ocean waves against rocks. For every swarm creature they destroyed, 10 more appeared. The humans were outnumbered 100 to 1. But they did not break. Fighter pilot launched from the Soul on the second day of fighting. She was 24 years old, the youngest pilot in the fleet, with quick hands and no fear. Her squadron of 8 fighters dove into the swarm formation, weapons blazing. Stay tight, she ordered her pilots. Watch your 6, do not let them surround you. Swarm interceptors came for them. The enemy ships were alive, made of muscle and bone, with acid spraying from organic cannons. They screamed as they flew, a terrible sound that filled the radio channels. Shot down 3 in the first minute. Her wingman, a pilot named, got 2 more before one of them caught him with acid spray. His ship melted around him. I screamed. His voice came through, weak but alive. I am ejecting, keep fighting. She kept fighting. Her hands moved automatically, targeting, firing, dodging. The universe became very small, just her ship and the enemies around her. She did not think about death. She did not think about fear. She only thought about the next target. On the Resolute, Captain Park worked alongside his crew to keep the damaged ship functioning. They had refused to leave the battle zone, even though their ship was held together with emergency repairs and hope. Enemy ships approaching from the port side, reported. Target them, ordered, everything we have. Chief Engineer Shin climbed through maintenance tunnels, fixing broken systems with his own hands. His uniform was covered in grease and his face was exhausted, but he would not stop. Every system he repaired meant 1 more minute of fighting. Elder stood on the bridge beside. The leader watched the humans fight and die for his people. He did not understand it. His culture had no word for this kind of sacrifice. Why do they not retreat? He asked. Your ships are damaged, your people are dying. Logic says you should withdraw. Did not look away from his screens. We do not retreat when people need us. It is not who we are. But you will die. Maybe, but we will die fighting for something that matters. Felt his glow brighten with emotion he could not name. These humans were insane. They were beautiful. They were the strangest creatures he had ever met. In the middle of the battle, had an idea. He had been studying the swarm ships, analyzing their movements and their signals. The swarm was a hive mind, thousands of creatures controlled by a single intelligence. They worked together perfectly because they were not really individuals. They were parts of one giant organism. What if we break the connection? Asked during a brief break in the fighting. The swarm shares one mind. If we disrupt that signal, they become confused, lost, alone. Admiral listened to the idea through a communication link. Can you build something that does this? I think so. A resonance pulse that targets their neural frequency. One ship carrying the weapon could reach the center of their fleet and activate it. One ship, repeated. Getting there would be a suicide mission. Yes, admitted, probably. There was silence on the channel, then spoke. The Resolute will do it. We are already damaged. We have the least to lose. Grabs arm. No, you have done enough. You saved my people. You do not need to die as well. Gently removed this hand. We need to end this. If we do not destroy the swarm here, they will come back. They will attack again and again until there is nothing left. This is the only way. I will not allow it. His voice cut through the argument. She had returned to her ship after the rescue pods collected. I will do it. My fighter is small and fast. I can reach the center of the swarm before they can stop me. No, another pilot said. You will not survive. I know, but someone has to go, and I am the best pilot we have. Admiral made the decision. Build the weapon. We'll carry it. We will give her as much cover as we can. The next 12 hours were chaos. Worked without sleep, building the resonance device with whatever materials he could find. Other engineers helped, burning their hands on hot metal, not caring. Prepared her fighter, checking every system, making sure it would hold together long enough. On the third day, everything was ready. Sat in her cockpit, the device strapped to her ship. The entire fleet was watching. The entire galaxy was watching. Admiral opened a channel to her. Pilot, you know what you are doing. You know the risks. On behalf of Earth and the people, thank you. Smiled, she was scared. She did not want to die. But she kept thinking about the children she had seen on the refugee ships, their soft glow as they slept, safe for the first time in years. Someone had to protect them. Someone had to make sure the swarm never hurt anyone again. I will see you on the other side, Admiral, she said. Save me some dinner. She launched. The human fleet attacked with everything they had, creating a path through the swarm for one small fighter. Ships exploded around her. Pilots died to give her a few more seconds. She flew through fire and acid and death, her hands steady on the controls. The center of the swarm fleet came into view. The ship was massive, a living mountain of black flesh, pulsing with the thoughts of millions of creatures. This was the brain that controlled everything. The swarm finally understood what was happening. They turned all their attention to the small fighter approaching their heart. Thousands of ships converged on its position. She was not going to make it. Then the Resolute appeared. Captain had brought his damaged ship into the center of the battle, drawing fire away from. Go, he shouted through the communication channel. We will hold them. Finish this. The swarm attacked the Resolute with terrible fury. The ship shook. Systems failed. Crew members died at their stations, but they held the line. Reach the. She activated the weapon. The resonance pulse expanded outward in a wave of disrupting energy. It hit the first, then spread to every swarm creature in range. The shared mind that had held them together for thousands of years shattered like glass. Across the battlefield, swarm ships stopped moving. Drones fell from the sky. Creatures that had always known exactly what to do suddenly knew nothing. They were alone for the first time in their existence, and they did not know how to be alone. The swarm was broken. Fighter drifted in space, damaged but intact. She was alive. She did not know how, but she was alive. "Did it work?" she asked, her voice shaking. Admiral answered, and for the first time he was laughing. "It worked. The swarm is finished. You did it." On the Resolute, the crew cheered. They were bleeding, exhausted, half-dead, and they cheered. Elder watched them celebrate with tears running down his glowing face. Leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. His ship was falling apart. Half his crew was wounded, but they had won. They had actually won. Approached him. "Captain, I asked you before why you came. You said it was because we asked for help, but that is not the whole answer, is it?" Opened his eyes. "No, it is not." "Then what is the whole answer?" Thought about his crew. He thought about, alone in her fighter, willing to die for strangers. He thought about the children who would grow up free because humans had refused to look away. "We help because it is the right thing to do," he said finally. "Not because it is efficient, not because we gain something. We help because when we see suffering we cannot ignore it. We help because everyone deserves a chance to live. We help because—" he paused, searching for words. "Because that is what it means to be human." Did not fully understand. His people had different values, different history, different ways of thinking. But he was beginning to see. Perhaps, he thought, his people could learn to be a little bit human too. 10 years passed, and the galaxy was not the same. The story of the Resolute had spread to every corner of known space. Every species had heard about the humans, who answered a call for help that everyone else ignored. Every child knew the name of Captain Park, the man who looked at impossible odds and said, "We are going anyway." The story changed things. It made beings uncomfortable. It made them ask questions they had never asked before. If one ship could save 12,000 lives, what could a fleet do? If one species could stand against the swarm, what could a united galaxy accomplish? If humans believed that words had meaning, maybe words should have meaning. The galactic community created something new. They called it the Humanitarian Fleet. It was a force of ships from dozens of species, dedicated to one simple purpose: answer calls for help. Any species, anywhere, for any reason. If someone asked, the fleet would come. Admiral O commanded the fleet. The woman who had once stood alone before the council, defending human values, now led ships from every corner of the galaxy, served alongside. Former swarm drones, now individuals with their own minds, worked in engineering departments. Even High Arbiter had sent ships from his people. "I did not believe in this," had told when he offered his support. "I thought it was foolish, wasteful, but I watched your people die for strangers, and I felt something I had not felt in centuries. I felt ashamed of my own silence. I do not want to feel that way again." Elder had rebuilt his people. They lived on a new world now, one given to them by the community as an apology for years of neglect. Their crystal gardens grew tall. Their children played in silver light. And every year, on the anniversary of their rescue, they held a celebration called the Day of Answering. Old now but still glowing strong, addressed the council on that day. The same council that had once called his people worthless. "When my world burned, we cried out for help," he said. "The galaxy turned away. One species did not. They came not because we could pay them, not because we had something they wanted. They came because we asked, and they believed that was enough." He looked at the human delegation, where Admiral sat with tears in her eyes. Today, ships from 40 species patrol the darkness, ready to answer the next call. Today, the words "help me" have meaning again. This is the legacy of the Resolute. This is what humans gave us, not just our lives but our hope. The council chamber was silent. Many species wept, though some of them had never wept before in their long histories. On Earth, retired from service, Shin taught young cadets at the Fleet Academy. Students came from across the galaxy to learn from the man who had built the weapon that broke the swarm. But did not teach them about weapons. He taught them about courage. "We were one ship," he told a class of young faces, human and alien alike. "We had no plan. We had no guarantee of success. The smart thing would have been to stay away. The logical thing would have been to let them die." He paused, looking at each student. "But someone asked for help, so we went. That is what I want you to understand. You will face moments when the smart choice and the right choice are different. You will have to decide what kind of person you want to be. I hope you choose to be the kind of person who goes." The pilot who had flown into the heart of the swarm now trained other pilots. Her hands still shook sometimes when she thought about that day. She still dreamed about the darkness closing around her, the filling her view. But she also dreamed about the children. She dreamed about their soft glow, their small hands reaching for adults who would protect them. She had given them a future. That was worth any price. In a small house on Earth with a garden full of flowers, Park lived quietly. He was an old man now, his hair white, his movements slow. But his eyes were still the same steady eyes that had looked at certain death and refused to blink. He received messages every day from across the galaxy. Species he had never met, worlds he had never visited, all thanking him for something he had done 15 years ago. A single decision that had changed everything. One day a young came to visit him. Her name was Lyra, and she had been a child on the refugee ships. She was grown now, tall and glowing beautifully, working as a diplomat like Elder had been. "I wanted to meet you," she said, sitting in his garden. "I wanted to ask you something." Smiled at her, "Ask." "Why did you come? You did not know us. We had nothing to offer you. The logical thing was to stay away. Every calculation said we were not worth saving." Had been asked this question 1,000 times. He had answered it 1,000 ways. But looking at this young woman, alive and thriving because of what he had done, he found the simplest answer. "Your elder begged for help. Where I come from, that means something. When someone asks you for help, you help them. It is not complicated. It does not need to be calculated. You just do it." Lyra thought about this. But what if you fail? What if you die trying? Then you die knowing you did the right thing. And maybe someone else sees you try, and they decide to try too. And maybe, over time, the universe becomes a little bit better because people kept trying even when it was hard. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I think I understand." "Do you?" "Yes, I think I finally do." She left the next day, returning to her work among the stars, watched her ship rise into the sky and felt peace in his old heart. That night, a new distress call came through the communication networks. A species called on the edge of known space, under attack by raiders. Their message was desperate, pleading, hopeless. "Please," the voice said. "Someone, anyone, help us. We are dying, please help us." Across the galaxy, ships changed course. Human ships, vessels from species that had learned over 10 years that words have meaning. Admiral O received the reports on her bridge. Dozens of ships from dozens of species, all racing to answer one call for help. She smiled and gave the order. "All ships maximum speed. Someone asked for help. Let us show them what that means now." Far away in his garden, Park looked up at the stars. He could not hear the distress call. He did not know about the ships racing to answer it, but somehow he knew. The universe was different now. Better, kinder, not because of weapons or technology or power, but because of something simpler. Because one ship had answered one call, and the ripples of that choice had spread across the stars. When someone asks for help, you help them. It was not complicated. It had never been complicated. And somewhere in the darkness, a voice cried out in fear and despair, begging for salvation that would never come. But this time it came. Help was coming. Help was always coming now. The humans had made sure of that.